Storky Beach, Storky Beach. Everyone's tripping at Storky Beach. Hurry up and get this party started. Ha! Hey man, which one of you guys farted?
The two. Hello! That's Justin. He's still dancing even though the music is over.
Can't stop dancing.
No,
I got the spirit in my body.
And the spirit on your chest of your own movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. Possible Horror available at goldninjavideo.com. Psycho Pike. The guy who made Psycho Pike once messaged me to ask for me to screen the film, and then I reached out and he never got back to me after that.
Whoa, he's like a mystery. Everyone talks about trying to get in touch with him to like do something about it. And I feel like maybe you were faked out. Maybe it was a fake him, just trying to
Maybe,
give people
perhaps,
hope.
yeah.
That'd be brilliant. That should be a new release. Get that remastered. Anyway, I am wearing Psycho Pike because it's a fishing movie about people who go off to the cottage, and that's a summer thing. And like many,
yeah, if you're rich, you go to the cottage.
I'm not rich. Oh, I don't have a cottage. I usually just
yeah, me neither. Actually, my mom has a cottage. That's a lie. So, but I don't like going to it, and she only got it after we moved away.
Right, because she didn't want the kids there.
Yeah, she didn't want us to come along.
I always date someone who has a cottage, so I go to like someone else's cottage. All the time.
As I know you, the serial dater. You hunk you.
Well, serial dater, as in like 10 years at a time.
That's what I mean. Yes, that since I've known you, you've been dating the same person.
Right. Each one of those people that I have dated through my whole life have always had a cottage. So it's like I feel like I've had one. Because
okay,
like part of the family.
That's why I used to wear a monocle when I met you. You're like, I'm trying to get off my cottage, you know.
No, it's just because I like to ride around in penny farthings.
Oh, that's cool though. That's a fashion statement more than anything. But
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about the summer, right, Adam?
We're talking about the summer and talking about how hot it is to wear this stupid headset on because it heats up my head.
And there's like lights coming off of it too. Does that make it hotter? Like,
yeah.
I feel like it's gonna like burn your ears.
I think it does. Yeah. The last couple of times we did episodes, I was like, man, why did I sweat so much? Was I stressing out? Then I realized, oh no, it's just having this on my head is like
you like took your shirt off. You're like, oh.
Well, at least remember back in the days when we used to do podcasts at my old apartment together.
Rest in peace needs commentary.
Yeah, but we had this really noisy air conditioner in the window, and we'd have to turn it off to do our episodes because it was too noisy. And we just like sweat to death and wait till we could finish the episode to turn the air conditioning and the fans back on.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure the like 3 people that listen, 2 of them being us, and have to listen to an air conditioner.
Do you have like you have that thing behind you? So
yes.
Okay, I have like decent real central air in the.
Oh, you have central air? Well, la dee da. There's that monocle coming back.
Yeah. I moved into a shittier apartment, but the quality of the air is much better. So it's, you're giving your take in the world. Anyway, so that's the heat wave. We're going through a heat wave in Ontario that's basically just been rain and mugginess. It's not even been fun. I can't even imagine people now that the supposedly, I'm a introvert in many ways, so supposedly you can run off to the beach now, but I doubt a lot of people are doing it because it's just kind of gross out here.
Yeah, it's gross. It's humid. What are we in Florida or something?
Yeah, I bet Florida's full of it though. Like Florida's had like a crazy heat wave in the last week, so they must be like naked 24/7 on the beach.
Is that what happens when there's a heat wave? Everybody just gets naked?
Well, in Florida. I mean,
Okay.
Speaking of that, before we get into this, this happens though in Ontario. This is a story I have to tell because it's fucking funny. 3 Sundays ago, I went downtown and I had to go
church.
To church.
As you do on Sundays.
Right, yeah. I had to go to Chinatown, actually. And I decided I would cut through Kensington Market, which was the dumbest idea because it was the first Sunday where stores were really allowed to open. And it was just packed. There was like 3 bands playing in the street. There were so many people. And there was one person who just dropped their pants and just started shaking it in front of all these racks of clothes going, "You need clothes. I don't need clothes."
And that man's name was Adam the Riot Thor.
But this is where it gets weird.
Oh, wait, it's going to get weird. Okay.
Yeah. This is just like people were just losing their mind because they were finally allowed out and to do stuff after this slam bam thank you pandemic. But then 2 weeks later, on a regular basis when the weather's good, Sarita and I at like 1 o'clock in the morning do like a walk around our area because the area where I live is pretty quiet. So it's just a chance to get outside and have no people around, and we just kind of go for a long walk. So it's like about 1:30. We're just about to get back to our house. We're about maybe 2 blocks away from our house, and there's this guy coming around the corner, and he's coughing really ugly. So my traumatized self goes all across the other side of the street. And the guy walks around and there's a big truck blocking him. And I can see that he's not wearing shoes because I can see his feet over it. I can see his head. And Sarita, is my girlfriend, is walking with me, and we're turning the corner. But I turn back and go, wait, that guy's completely naked. He was like an older man who was like 6.5 feet tall, and he had a book under his shoulder.
Wait, was he like Bigfoot? He's like, 6.5 feet tall.
He was just like, he was a big, tall dude, and so like super intimidating, and just completely, but like super casual. He had a book under his shoulder, just going do, and I like, that guy's completely naked. So she was like, yeah, whatever. She turns around, and then it's literally this face.
I can picture it too. Doing it.
Yeah. And then we're laughing, and the guy's gone. He's going down the block. We turn, and then out from behind a house comes a guy with a big dog, and he goes, "Did you see that naked man?" We're like, yeah. And we're laughing, and he goes, "Don't laugh. It's serious. He's probably gonna do something crazy."
And you look down, and the guy's dog has like pants on. You're like, no, never nude.
Well, he's like, "You should call the cops." And I'm like, "Why didn't you call the cops?" And he's like, "I don't have my phone." I'm like, "I don't have my phone."
All I have is his dog.
And so he's like, "Fine, I'm going to track him." And he ran off
the dog.
Yeah, and he went down the street. And so Serena and I go home, and we're like, all right, maybe we will call the cops, but not because of the naked guy, because of the guy with the dog who was going to track him. And we're explaining, we don't call 911, we just call like the police directly, and like use like big open terms, because it's like as like a wellness check, because I don't know what's going on, and I feel the guy chasing him might be more of a problem than the naked guy. And the cop just starts to laugh, and he's like, all right, I'll go take a look. He was like,
2 people died that night. Don't do wellness checks.
Yeah. And that's my whole thought the whole night. But then jump ahead 3 more nights. Serena and I do that same walk around the block. And we see that tall man, but he's wearing clothes. And at first we don't recognize him. Then he has that same cough, and we see him walking away. I'm like, oh, it's the naked guy, but he's wearing clothes. He must live here. So,
oh, really?
He must live like nearby. And we're like, oh, we're going to see this guy again now. We just know it now.
Just like that episode of Friends with the naked guy that lives across the way. But instead of that, he walks around your neighborhood.
Oh.
Oh, you don't like that?
It's the whole
being 8 really tall naked guy.
8 feet tall. He got taller now. Yeah. This Herman Munster looking dude who's walking around with a like nasty cough, walking around reading.
What was he reading? Did you see the book?
No, it was blue, and it was a book. And it was underneath his arm. It was like,
okay,
like it might have been a little purse, but no, I think it was a book. And he was completely naked. But maybe
the
that's
real question is wang size: small, large, hanging between his legs if he's 6.5 feet tall.
It couldn't have been that big, because like he luckily turned away from us, so we're just seeing.
So it didn't like turn the corner with him.
Yeah. He didn't. No,
so how are we going to segue into the movies we're about to talk about?
Well, because it gets hot, you take off your clothes, you go to the beach, you sunbathe.
But not in Adam's backyard. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
keep your clothes on.
No, my backyard is not.
The cops on you.
Yeah, I wonder what that guy with the dog thought that guy was doing. I mean, it was weird, but I wasn't going to call the cops until that. But anyway, in these movies, the boom of the 80s of these beach movies was really just an excuse to jump in on the teen sex comedy.
Porky's at the beach.
Yeah, basically. And like the camp movies were always about like coming of age, how to like first get a chance to make out with a girl, and eventually you'd be at like the docks in the river or in the lake or whatever. So it'd be like the beach thing. There'd still be people doing all the same stereotypes as that. But again, it was a chance for the Porky's joke to come in where someone sneaks a look at some girl getting changed. Um, I mean, these movies still happen today. They sort of purposefully do the exploitation factor of it now, where before I don't think they knew they were doing that. It just seemed like it's just really dated because it makes like all the guys seem like really weird creepers, especially because in the
Makes
80s
them seem like weird creepers. They were just weird creepers.
but I feel like the movies in the 80s didn't know that. It's like and they're done so waka waka innocently.
Yeah, because that was the norm. There wasn't anything wrong with it at that time. But
Well,
you know,
I think we say that, but I think if guys were if a guy was actually sneaking into a peephole in the girls' showers, every other guy would be like, "You're a disgusting freak." They would.
I don't know about that. Like
One or
people
two of their
love-
nerdy buddies would laugh about it.
I was gonna say like Animal House. Like the whole joke of Jim Belushi, like looking at the women naked, and then his boner makes him fall backwards.
But I mean, it like then at the same point, we had Tenacious D did a movie where they were like mocking. Fuck, I can't believe I remember this. It's sort of like a mock of Mission Impossible that they have to
Yeah,
like
where he gets a boner. Well,
and he has
that's
to use it to push a button, and it's just like it's ridiculous. It's funny, but you wouldn't want your friends to do it. If your friend had a boner beside you, you wouldn't go.
I would. If he had to touch a button, I'd be like, that's okay.
You gonna flick it
But
or
if
something?
if he's like, I'm looking at women without the permission, I'd be like, whoa, no boner zone here. Push a button, that's okay.
But to be aroused and have that, or to push a button, one seems more natural than the other. How do you just concentrate? Button, do it.
I don't know. Well, you just gotta train. If people stay tuned for the end of the episode where me and Adam try it.
Yeah, I think only Jack Black can do that. I think it's a skill.
That's why he doesn't really act anymore. He pulled a muscle. Doing it for real.
And we say he doesn't act anymore. He just had like multiple movies out in the last couple of years.
Did he? I don't think so.
He's a Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji. How did you say that?
The Jumanji.
I searched Jack Black and all I got was Jack's Back, the James Spader movie.
It's a movie where James Spader is reborn as Jack Black.
Oh, that would be amazing. Oh, yeah, I'm looking here. It looks like that he was in... No, yeah, he hasn't done much. He was in like Goosebumps 2. He was in that Eli Roth movie.
That fucking, House of Clocks or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That like movie that looked like it was going to be great, but totally wasn't.
He was in the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and +2 video game.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you beat him, that'd be great.
No, he played Officer Dick. Speaking of dicks, probably got a boner.
And to use it as his baton to beat you before he arrested you. Anyway,
we're here to talk about movies
and summer movies, summer beach movies. I'm going to get into this whole pervy concept. I'm going to share my edit of a trailer for the 1979. Let me find that I have it queued up first. Of course I don't, so I better do that first. The 1979 Al Adamson movie that is Sunset Cove. And this fits in with what we're talking about because it hits all the stereotypes of the 80s. Hey, we're just fun kids who want to save the beach. You know, we got to stop that guy, that old man who wants to develop it and make it into condos or something. And at the same time, we're also going to have like a boat race or a surfing competition to see who's the coolest guy in town. And at some point, a nerd's going to try to hopefully hook up with this mysterious hot chick at some point. Like, you know, all those stereotypes happen in this movie that happen in every single other one of those movies. But because it was Al Adamson, the exploitation guy in 1979, he filmed it like it was a straight out porn. Like have you seen?
No, I haven't. I do have that Al Adamson box set.
And it is on there.
Show.
Yeah, and it is on there. It's super weird because giving weird memories of like the first time I ever saw like a porn, and it was like from the early
Garage
80s.
Girls, your favorite porno,
and it's totally like this. It's like it's filmed the same way because it's
Sorry, I'm zooming in.
So just trying to zoom into the Al Adamson box?
No, I'm trying
just-
to zoom in myself. Too much headroom. There we go.
Oh, you need max headroom.
Yeah. Sunset Cove.
Yeah, forget me. We're gonna have him as the host from now on.
So wait, so it made you feel like the first time you saw a porno is what you're saying?
Yeah, I got a boner.
Yeah, you had to hit the button. You're like, oh, Sunset Cove.
No,
So basically, you're recommending the first film that makes you feel like a porno.
no, it's just that era in style. Like you've seen those 42nd Street compilations that at the end show like a bunch of those like well-produced porn at the time, and it's really soft lighting. It's this like funky jazz music, and so there's all these really pointless, elongated sex scenes that are. It feels like there was somewhere a hardcore edit of this because they don't fit in with the style of the rest of the movie. The beats of the movie doesn't fit, and they go on for a really long time. It's usually like the one really cool dude who just kind of looks like Tony Danza, who just happens to have two girls with him all the time, and then they go and hang out in his van, and they all take their clothes off, and it's just like literally feels like it's going on forever of them grinding.
That reminds me of David Dakota's Beach Babes from Beyond. Is that what it's called?
Exactly.
Where the sex scenes are like 15 minutes long each time they pop up.
And it's completely like that. And I feel like when Dakota did that, he was aware that he was doing that on purpose. Like he was kind of like, I am winking to a porn. I just feel with Al Adamson,
or he's just like, I'm making softcore porn. That's what people want. I'm not winking. Right. I'm just like, here you go.
Well, and that's what I feel that Al Adamson was doing because it was 1978. Porn was in the theaters as a fairly budgeted project at those point. So there was money in it. And so again, where you would see an Al Adamson film in 1979 was not at the same Metroplex you'd go and see, the retro movies with your family. You weren't seeing Star Wars probably at the same theater that was going to play Sunset Cove.
You'd see it at the drive-in in 1979.
And massive boobs across the screen, like
yeah,
they're coming to get you. So I'm gonna share my edited trailer where right off the bat there's boobs, so I've censored it.
Boobs.
And there are some kids.
Don't pause after saying there were some kids.
Trying to have a good time.
It sounds so threatening.
Yeah.
Only kids can.
It's my father. Listen, you gotta get out of here. You gotta get out of here.
But then some developers
hey, it's the guy you saw that was walking around near your house.
Fast talk and big deals.
It's not just another run-of-the-mill high-rise.
And tried to take over the beach.
41 grand stories, gleaming, glistening tribute.
Are they gonna shit on him?
They're gonna shit on him?
So there were cops.
Yeah, if you're up high like a bird.
There was trouble.
One ticket wasn't enough for you today, huh? Knock yourself out, man. I need some toilet paper.
See, he needs toilet paper. It's all starting to add up.
Hide for your beach.
Look, we've got to get this beach cleared.
That's right in your coastline.
You know what a shutdown could cost us?
And some kids just don't give up.
I love how crappy the beach looks.
Sunset Cove. From Calam Artist.
There you go.
But there was no boobs in that, Adam.
What's weird because I stole that from YouTube and you see the boobs in that, so it's not like I'm really worried of that. But at the same point, I just feel we're a classier show.
Yeah, we're much classier than that.
This
so hot. Wait, I gotta ask you, Adam. Are you a beach guy?
No,
I don't think. Yeah, you never go to the beach.
No. I burst into flames. I remember like 2 summers ago, I did a big walk downtown, and obviously I did like east to west, and I must have stayed on only one side of the street because then I got home and I looked like Two-Face. I had burned right across the side of my body, but this side did not. So I had this weird ass tan on the like one arm and one. It looked like Roddy Piper in like the 1987.
No, you were like those aliens in the episode of Star Trek where it's
Yeah,
like, we're black on this side and white on this side.
Yeah, it was. There's what can you do about that? Like, it's just got to go away. And it lasted a couple days. It sucked.
That's very funny. So no beach for you. You don't party on the beach.
No,
you don't do any of that stuff.
No, I mean, I always have a couple of friends who want to do it, and then I go there for like, and I'm good for like 5 minutes, and they're like, let's play frisbee, and I'm like, I've got no eye hand coordination, do you have? Can I just sit here and eat food? But yeah, it's no, I don't like it.
I mean, I like to swim. That's what I like about going to the beach.
Yeah, if you got, and like I said, I've always had friends that had decent cottages just right by lakes, and they've been good lakes. I'd still probably rather swim in a pool, but
yeah, probably a swim, but not a public pool because that's like pee water at that point, right? Well, don't you love the like bracingly cold water of Lake Ontario where you're like, it's never warm?
Yeah, I don't know the last time I ever jumped in Lake Ontario. Maybe when I was a kid, but like I feel
really? Oh, I went a couple of years ago when I went for a swim. People go all the time.
I feel like if I went to Lake Ontario for too long, I'd grow like a third eye and look like the fish from the Simpsons.
You'd be fine. It's fine.
Fine.
There used to be a dock behind my house that I would jump into like this really disgusting river that we'd swim around in.
The Canada's not as famous for it, but I mean America loves like water parks. I've been to a couple in Canada, but like it's still there's only.
Which one did you go? Did you go to Saint-Sauveur or Tremblant? Those are like the two main water parks. Or Wonderland has a pretty good water park.
Well, yeah, okay, I've been to Wonderland, but whatever I went to was like in high school. Like I haven't gone in years, but I remember it had one of those really big wave pools. So there's just everybody sits on these little floating devices, and then all of a sudden the waves kick in.
I almost got caught in the waves, and somebody had to grab me and pull me out. Because I was like a little tiny kid.
Again, my only memory of that is getting a sunburn. So, yeah.
Just put sunscreen on.
I do. But
like 90 FPS.
Yeah, I just need to wear tinfoil and I'll be fine. But America's like,
wear tinfoil.
Yeah, then I
just gave you that advice.
As I said that, I thought about it. I'm like, wait, that's what I cook a baked potato.
You're like, I gotta put this olive oil on.
Maybe that's my problem. I keep putting olive oil on instead of sunscreen.
But Sarita's trying to cook you up. She's like, just lather it on. She even has one of those brushes to put it on.
Isn't that how we put sunscreen on? Yeah, I always thought that's what it was. Even my parents were trying to eat me, I guess. Have you seen the documentary for Action Park?
I have, yes. It seems horrifying. And I'm glad I never had to go there.
Horrifying and amazing at the same time. Like
it's too many people died or lost fingers on stuff.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, didn't they say there was like dozens of people that would go to the nurse every day? A lot of them just because they would go on that horrifying alpine slide and like, grapes all over their body.
Which is, it doesn't really mention it in the documentary, but if you look into it, there are like every state has some sort of major compound independently built into some sort of water park / theme park / the old West World type of shit that they've got there. Every state's got one of those, and every one of them has had children die at them.
I wonder if anybody
they've all had it.
Died at the Canadian ones. Did you ever go on the slides where it's like they were building those super steep ones and you had to like go when you go down and you're just like
if not died, I'm sure there were terrible like, and I know for a fact that in a couple of those big wave parks that existed for a while there were kids who drowned even in Ontario, and therefore that's why they don't make them anymore.
What is the name of the park that like someone got decapitated on? Decapitation water park. I'm searching right now. I thought it was like a German sounding. Oh yeah, Schlitterbahn in Kansas City.
Oh,
I think so. Yeah, someone was decapitated on a slide. They like stood up when they went down, and whoosh, their head got taken off.
Yeah. I always have that sort of like flinching fear on roller coasters because they have those ones that kind of seem like they're gonna hit a roof of something, but I mean, obviously they didn't.
Or like the wooden ones where you're like,
it's like your head's gonna go hit the side of something.
Wait, did I tell you the story of like I went with a mutual pal of us, Duncan's daughter, a couple of years ago, and we went on slides, and it was a rainy day at Wonderland, so we could just go on and on and on. Like, let's beat the record. Let's go like 15 times. And by the third time, I was like, oh, my stomach. And by the 10th time, I'm like, I can't walk. I feel so ill. I'm old now.
In general, the last time, like 2 years ago, I went to Wonderland. It rained again, got a sunburn, of course. But it was
put sunscreen on.
It was a lot of fun. I didn't get like super nauseous from it, but I remembering when Riot Fest came to Toronto.
You're like, it's for me.
It's for me, yeah. So of course I had to go. It was a great time, but it had this big Ferris wheel in the middle of it, and it was so rickety and so shitty.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, let's get in that, and we'll watch the whatever band was playing at that time from it, because that would be kind of fun. And it's really slow, but the seat you're in goes completely like this.
Oh, those are called they're zippers.
Well, the zippers do kind of that, I think. Well, yeah, but this is just a Ferris wheel, but the seat just sort of clunk, 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 like super.
Yeah.
So for like an hour, I had to sit down and was so nauseous. And then Prodigy came on, and it was crazy laser light show, and I thought I was freaking out. I was like, I can't handle this. I'm so dizzy. I didn't even take drugs, and it still feels like everybody else.
Old man Thorne is just like, oh, I was on the Ferris wheel, and it was too intense.
Yeah, I felt like I was a million years old. Like,
this is the greatest drug. And Riot Fest, that was been like 15 years ago.
It was 3 years ago.
Oh, you went to Riot Fest 3 years ago?
Yeah, it was like one of the only times it really came to Toronto, and it was the last time because they gave away so many free tickets.
You're like, I can go see Big Sugar and all my favorite bands.
I believe it was weird because that was the two major acts I saw on the last day was Motorhead and Prodigy, and their lead guys died 2 months later.
So Lenny was there doing Motorhead.
Yeah. Yeah,
wow.
Lenny was there, and he was not in good shape. It felt like they wheeled him out, and his guitar player turned all the talking for him. I mean, he sounded like that anyway.
Yeah, but with that kind of energy level.
Oh yeah. It was to be that. I kind of wish I didn't see it, because in my memory, that's what Motorhead is, and it was not good. The Prodigy show was fucking amazing, and the guy just he killed himself. He didn't die of old age or anything. They were still like I was amazed how crazy that show was, and that's a big sense of like summer fun shit too, which I think
you can't do now unless you're vaccinated completely.
Right. Well, I mean, America, I'm sure is fucking just doing it, letting anybody in, but we're not doing anything yet, so we'll wait.
Nope. Even though that I think we're both vaccinated, right? Double time. You got yours like 6 months ago because you're.
No, I didn't, because I pre-booked mine ahead over a month, so I have to wait another week till my second vax. So
you haven't even gotten your second dose yet.
No.
Okay.
So I'm not fully done yet.
I'm already double vaxxed, baby.
But I mean, then it's an excuse for me to not do anything in July, which is fine.
yeah, but you can just still be vaxxed and not doing anything anyway. Be like, I don't want to go anywhere.
Well, that'll be my excuse for why I have to hide inside, because I'm I'm fragile, and
so like us, yeah, you're like powder. Minus the director's very bad things.
I'm like Powder. I'm not like the movie Powder.
I was thinking of the movie Powder, which I've never seen. But that's the next movie Adam's recommending, right?
Well, let's talk about other controversially creepy guys, because the way that era happens. I didn't put this in my list originally, but I'm gonna talk about it because it had an amazing fucking cover being re-released by Vinegar Syndrome recently, and I've always been curious about it because of the weird cast that's in this. I love that era of like. It's a cheesy comedy, so you hire all these really dated old people to play all the adults, and then it's a bunch of no names as the young people, who are still obviously like close to 30, but supposed to be like 17, 18, because they're gonna do terrible things, so they have to be. Where is it? But it is Surf 2.
Oh, I watched Surf 2. Have you never seen Surf 2?
Oh, I have. I've seen it only recently.
I get it. Speaking of bad man, you mean Eddie Deason, who recently went viral for bad reasons.
Right. Yeah. Because when someone says Eddie Deason's a creeper, I'm like, what? not like no. I mean, I'm not shocked by that, but I'll love his characters forever. But if someone was to tell me he's a
Yeah,
weird
he
dude,
seems like he's just a little bit unbalanced. He's an older man now, like,
and he's never not been that character.
Mhm.
So I feel like his concept between hilarious weird geek and awkward social person is he just really doesn't know the
Are
difference.
you a huge Surf 2 fan?
Not a huge, but I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a lot more fun than I expected it. It's one of the main girls in that I have this like crush. I think she's adorable. She's the mom from Star Kid. Remember that movie? You remember?
Oh yeah, we showed it at the Laser Blast Film Society.
Yeah, she's also from like Police Academy 5, and a weird Eric Stoltz as the lead
as
in
a
that.
main guy in Surf 2, yeah.
And then Tom Villard is the really weird friend of theirs who is the first one to get like drugged and becomes kind of like a zombie. Which the movie basically is like 2 trauma movies in one. It's like Surf Nazis Must Die and Casa Nukem High mixed into one film. But I thought that I grabbed a clip for it here, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I'm just an idiot. But
yeah, you idiot. Come on.
What the fuck is my problem? Oh no, here it is. Let's play that. Open with a program. Yeah, yeah.
In the great tradition of American classics, we bring you Surf 2.
I can hear it. Oh, here it comes.
The surf wars continue when a mad genius pollutes innocent surfer youth.
I'm imagining in my head. Oh, there we go.
You know how many brain surgeons, nuclear physicists, and Nobel laureates have been surfers? I'll tell you, none.
It's a sprawling surf saga.
That woman that has a British accent, she appeared in a bunch of Albert Pyun movies.
Adventure beneath boiling seas, struggle against uncontrolled substances, and a race to the death by freedom fighters protecting your right.
You know that all those shots with like the big guys are all from reshoots that were done on the movie?
With music by the Stray Cats, Oingo Boingo, Split Ends, the Circle Jerks, the Beach Boys, and more.
Yeah, so like all the shots of the breasts and stuff like that, that was done like after the fact. It's not part of the director's cut, which is on the Blu-ray.
Look. There, but so they decided to spice it up after the fact.
Exactly, yeah. So they like those 2 big guys are like farting all the time. There's like a slow motion shot of them being smacked in the head with boobs.
Yeah. And they and when they put on their wetsuits, they immediately bend over and show their ass cracks. Yeah, which it's a super low budget film for them, but it's got all again the stereotypes. It's very high energy.
Oh man, I didn't even realize that Terry Kaiser was the main guy. He'll be returning later on in another movie.
Yes.
Try to guess which one.
We'll mention in very, very soon second, which I will just flash on the screen. Yeah, I only saw it for the first Surf 2 for the first time. There is no Surf 1. I like that as a tagline saying Surf 2, the end of the trilogy. It's just stupid, but it came out before Surf Nazis and before Class of Nukem High, and it feels like it's the inspiration of that. I wonder how many times Lloyd Kaufman had watched that film.
He's like, never. I've never seen
a movie
He's
ever.
Like, I didn't make Surf Nazis Must Die.
No, he didn't. Yeah, but
He did. No.
Class of Nukem High.
Yeah, well, it was another guy who started directing it, and then Lloyd Kaufman had to come in and finish it.
Or like every other project he's ever done, where that's it's somebody else's and Lloyd Kaufman.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's super bizarre. It's the only real first time the DVD's been out. It's interesting that it has the less spicy cut. Normally it's the other way around. I just watched, completely unrelated, Equinox about a week ago, that movie that Criterion released. It's weird how it has a less sexy cut, but it's like, it's not sexy, it just has really slow motion, like rapey scenes in it, but there's like, oh, that was added in later, that's why
the exploitative elements that were added in to sell it more. I think like nudity and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think there's any actual nudity, but there's just like grabbing her boob and it's just weird. But that was just because one of the actors in it was the guy from WKRP, and he died last week, so I thought I'd rewatch it.
Equinox in memory of him.
Yeah, Herb from WKRP. But I never actually spent any time looking at the extra features on the DVD, and I was watching through those. Because I never put two and two together that it was the same guy. It was kind of funny. But anyway, it's usually a film adds in film stuff to spice it up. But I mean, again, I wonder how many films have bothered to do that now, because we're, like we've said, there's a time period that just changed. Things are not considered that way anymore. But there's even like, God, even when I try to think of movies of nowadays, they're still pretty old. Like the first movie that comes to like that has that sort of like cheeky comedy, it comes to mind, is fucking like Euro Trip, and that's like
that was 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this, like, I'm trying to think, has Trey Parker made a film like that? And like, no, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't done anything lately, other than hating trans athletes on his South Park.
Yeah, I could think of like, again, the last time I could think of like a theater release film that had that kind of humor is 20 years ago, like Van Wilder and shit like that, which is, God, I don't need to see that again.
No, bad.
And they needed to feel the need to push the limit even more, and that's why I feel like some of these 80s ones didn't really think they were pushing it. But let's go into another film for you. A more modern and major release, because like, some of these movies later became a super popular thing. Like Revenge of the Nerds 2 completely feels like one of those beach movies, because it's where they go to their spring break to Miami.
Nerds! I think that's from that movie, right? Isn't it?
I guess he sees them, and he's like, "Oh my God, they're here!" And then Summer School. That's
a fun one.
Yeah, I think it's actually a pretty solid film. I really liked a lot of the cast in that. It's that weird period of time when somehow Kirstie Alley was considered a sex symbol and not a crazy person.
Not anymore.
Yeah, she's bonkers. But because those are a couple of movies which, again, I didn't see until later. Like I'd already known who she was for other stuff, and then I already seen the terrible Look Who's Talking movies. But I can't recommend Summer School enough, but it doesn't fit into the B movie world that I like to talk about stuff, because it's almost too good a movie. But it does have two main characters who are nutball horror B movie fans, so it fits for the fans.
What are their names? It's like Chainsaw and like Lugnut or something like that.
Yeah, one of them's Chainsaw. I can't think off the hand what the other one's called. What other stuff was sort of like that? Well, and then John Cusack's break into like films. There's two.
Films. One Crazy Summer.
Yeah, and that also has Tom Villard from Surf 2. He's also one of the dumb.
It also has my acting hero, the thinking man's Eddie Dees, and Bobcat Goldthwait.
And
Goldthwait. I can't do his voice.
Tom and Bobcat are brothers in that movie. And then in Police Academy 5, Bobcat is the love interest for the blonde girl from Star Kid and Surf 2. So
I've never seen past Police Academy 1.
Yeah, that's the dirty one. That's when it was.
I'm more of a Vice Academy kind of guy. No, I'm not.
I mean, I got Vice Academy 1 on DVD, but yeah.
Oh, you didn't buy that set that Vinegar Syndrome put out? That's now like $300.
Yeah, I've seen the first 4, and I don't need to see them again. And I love Linnea Quigley, but it's so not funny. Amazingly not funny.
How can the man who made Hobgoblins make an unfunny? I was joking. It actually goes for $246 online. That's insane.
All those slipcovers that were come and go titles do that. People are stupid. Anyway, but then there is a great film about two guys who go to have a weekend on the beach house front with their boss, who just happens to pass away, which in my mind is great, but is not as good as the sequel.
Oh no, Weekend at Bernie's 2, Return to Bernie's Beach. That is, or as I like to call it, Bernie's Revenge.
It doesn't say Return to Bernie's Beach in there.
No, it doesn't.
Because they go to like a tropical island in the sequel.
Yeah, they do. And Bernie smells now. But most importantly, he has a voodoo curse put on him that if he dances, if music plays, then he dances.
If Calypso music plays, he gets a fucking a harpoon through the head and like pulls a cart with it.
Which is the one that he has sex? Is it the first or the second one? I think it's the second one.
I think it's in both. Because
Okay.
a girl has sex with him on the beach.
That's what I
in
was
the second
thinking,
one. And in the first one, right after they've discovered he's dead, they leave. And when they come back, that girl came back to see him, and they're in like his house, and she's like, he was amazing. And they're like, no, he couldn't have.
Do you think Terry Kaiser will be buried in the Weekend at Bernie's like jumpsuit?
I hope so.
I mean, everybody has a pitch for Weekend at Bernie's 3. Mine was always like a meta one where it's like a fan convention, and they're also there's a chance that they may sign a contract for Weekend at Bernie's 3. But of course, Terry Kaiser dies, so the two actors playing themselves have to pretend he's still alive.
I think Silverman would do that too. He's yeah, everyone has that concept of like somehow he's either a zombie or he's just not rotted away yet, or it's just a full-on skeleton and it's necromantic somehow.
No, I don't want him to be. That's why the meta version works. Or as some other friends have said, it's like a like an infection that everybody starts dying and then start dancing.
There's a weird like voodoo bit where they kill a chicken in a public bathroom in Breaking the Birdies too. Yeah, it's super weird and awkward. Again, those are old enough to still have some very dated jokes in those. And I know they're kind of going for shock, but I feel like again those directors weren't like going, okay, this is like the bulldog jizz scene in Van Wilder. Like it's not. They weren't going, oh, this will make them throw up in the theater. They were just like, that's funny. Like that's. Yeah, but when you think about it afterward, you're and like all those movies, you laugh at it at the time, and it's somehow just a little bit later when you're like, wait a minute, all they wanted to do was steal that girl's underwear? That's gross. Wait, they had sex with a dead guy?
Or
wait, that's gross.
You don't even think about it, and you think it's normal because you're watching it in the entertainment that you consume.
Yeah, well, nah, I don't believe that. I believe people who fuck dead people were no one was inspired by Weekend at Bernie's to go, well, it was a work
do you
for
think
her.
Weekend at Bernie's like started like the same way that like Robin Hood, the Disney one, made people into furries? That like Weekend at Bernie's made them into necrophiles?
Again, if you were a furry, you were gonna be a furry. Robin Hood did not make you a furry. It just made you have a design for your costume.
It activated you.
Horror movies don't make psychopaths. They just give them good ideas.
Yeah. The Weekend at Bernie's 2. Yeah, that's my recommendation. Another great beach movie. Love it.
I love it.
The beach the entire time.
Yeah, it's the main two guys are just so wacky without being wacky. Like they're so awkwardly normal in that situation that makes them really funny. I remember there was a Jonathan Silverman TV series for a while. He had a sitcom just called like the Silverman Show, and I remember it being awful.
I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Andrew McCarthy and Jonathan Silverman. Those were the two main guys.
Mm-hmm. And all I remember of Jonathan Silverman having a TV show is at some point someone brings up Weekend at Bernie's and he says that's a terrible movie in the show.
So he plays himself like Louis or
I don't think so. I think it's
Marin?
like or like it's like Seinfeld, where like Seinfeld's not, he's Jerry Seinfeld, but he's not the world's Jerry Seinfeld. He's not successful. And I don't think he was supposed to be the guy. I think someone says, you remind me of the guy from Weekend at Bernie's, and he goes, what, the dead guy? That movie's stupid. And they're
just like your career.
There's some impressive crap movies under his IMDb that are like, they're for us a good paint-a-thon at some point to do an all Jonathan Silverman.
Do you think National Lampoon's Another Dirty Movie is a bad film? I don't think so. Or Benchwarmers 2? Remember Benchwarmers? What about Benchwarmers 2? Breaking Balls.
I can't believe there's a bait.
Chris Klein, John Lovitz, together at last.
I mean, John Lovitz was at least in Benchwarmers 1.
Was he?
Yep. He's the rich guy that tries to like buy them as a team. It'd be funny if I'm mixing it up. It's not John Lovitz, but I'm pretty sure that it is.
John Lovitz was like second string Benchwarmers.
I'll think of the rest of that cast. That like totally fits in his world. Does John Lovitz have some weird, terrible like cancel culture stuff?
Yeah, definitely. Like nobody really likes John Lovitz.
No, nobody does. And that's why I feel like, like should be some story. I know he humorously married a much younger woman for a period of time.
Humorously, probably not for her, but yes.
No, I think it kind of was, because she was like an Instagram model or something. I don't know, but it was so they could do a really funny internet scam, and like it wasn't real. Something like that. I don't know. It was this weird story where it's her showing pictures of her wedding ring, and she's like, I just got married to a celebrity. You didn't even know we were dating. And then it's showing like his fancy house and his fancy car. And then he comes out and he goes, yeah, it's me. And it was like this weird internet gag. And everyone's like, whoa, John Lovitz married a model. And I think it was just some friend of his, and they were just fucking around. But
Or he just married a model.
yeah, probably. And made a really tasteless joke to make fun of the fact that he's not attractive.
He's old, and yeah.
Yeah. I can't even like, I want to like do an impression of him because he kind of reminds me of the Penguin. But I think when I think of his voice, I'm just thinking of Joe Pesci from Lethal Weapon 2. It's just like,
I mean, as John Lovitz did in the classic National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon, where he played the Joe Pesci role.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking that. Yeah. What? So I've laundered some money. What?
That's the best gag in Loaded Weapon, where he's like, am I going to be okay? And Samuel Jackson's like, you're going to be fine. And then zip the board bag.
But then he comes back, so it's fine.
No, he doesn't. That's it.
No, he's back in the end credits. He's there in the car with the beaver and the dog, and they're all dancing. He's like, they're like,
Okay.
John, you're alive. Yeah, I am alive.
Oh, he plays himself, John Lovitz?
Or whatever his name is. And then they all of a sudden they do the Wayne's World joke, and all of a sudden like Bohemian Rhapsody plays, and they all just do that in the back of the car, and that's the end of the movie.
Oh, and everybody jumps to their feet, and they're like,
sorry, I just spoiled Lethal Weapon, Loaded Weapon 1 for everybody. Yeah. That's a fucking good spoof movie.
That's a great spoof movie. People should watch that this summer.
Yeah, spoof movies fell hard in the 21st century. I think that's one of the last ones I really like, unironically enjoy. Emilio Estevez is great in that, and a early Samuel Jackson, fantastic. It's weird. It feels like Samuel Jackson at parts is making fun of his character in Pulp Fiction, but Pulp Fiction hadn't happened yet.
That's true.
That's weird.
If only Samuel Jackson didn't have Pulp Fiction, he could have become a pure spoof actor. The next Leslie Nielsen.
There's no reason he can't do that. He
still could, yeah.
If Leslie Nielsen did that movie where he was like an abusive father who fought a bear, I mean, and he got past that.
Wait, are you talking about Dave the Animal?
Yeah. There's a movie where at the end he's in the rain, he's fighting a bear.
He takes his shirt off, and he's like, oh!
And the sort of the point is like, oh, he saved his family, but he's like terrible to his family.
Oh no,
so
he's a bad guy in Dave the Animal.
Yeah.
So at the end when he dies, you're like, yay!
Right. It's this whole like, yeah, screw you for trying to like save the day and fight the bear because you're a terrible person.
So wait, what's your next summer movie? We've only gotten through 2. We've been recording for almost an hour.
No. I mean, I've got through a couple here. We're good.
Yeah.
Let's see if I'll play another clip for it. I'm going to play a clip for another one of your picks, actually. For a movie I have not seen.
I'm shocked that you haven't seen this.
I know. I am shocked and appalled. In myself as a person, and I've made this into a little like clip show with this video, so I'm gonna play a bunch of it and I'll just pause at times, so this way it will not be as messy. So let's start, and then let's share, because sharing matters. I mean, I've known of this movie for forever. I've just never actually taken the time to sit and watch it.
Well, Don't Go in the Woods is wild because it's essentially the director, I think it's James Bryan, who people may know him as a director of Frozen. Oh, wait, no, he didn't direct Frozen Scream. He just worked with that actor a lot.
No, he made Frozen, the Disney movie.
Yes. No, he made a Lady Street Fighter.
Oh.
You know, the one with, he also did Jungle Trap, which Bleeding Skull put out recently.
Right, really low.
Yeah, like shot on VHS stuff. This is one of his earlier films shot on film. And what's great about it is it's kind of like if someone explained to him what a slasher was, they're like, oh, people are walking through the woods and then people get killed. And he's like, okay, I got it. So it'll be like people walking and then it'll cut to some random person who's like painting a picture in the woods and suddenly a knife will come out. They'll be like, oh, and that's it. We never see them again. That happens every 5 minutes. Some random person shows up doing something, and then he gets brutally killed by the slasher character.
It's like a madman, a mad woodsman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's nuts. And the camera is like like a Darren Aronofsky film. He's like going all over the place,
Yeah.
like, super hyperactive the entire time, as opposed to his VHS films where the camera's like locked down with cement blocks.
Have you seen? I believe the movie is called Berserker, which is
Yes, I have the one
such-
where
a guy's dressed up as a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like concept-wise kind of the same because you just sort of like forget what the slasher element of it is with these characters. They don't see the real coordination between the two, and then eventually you see the killer, and you're like,
Oh no, the killer shows up in this one 5 minutes into the movie.
it's a big beardy guy that I've seen.
Yeah, and you keep seeing him every 5 minutes, as opposed to Berserker, where you're like, we're just lost in this fog. When's the Viking gonna come and start killing people?
Or is it just actually a bear and we're just wrong? Yeah, there's a great climax in Berserker when like that is kind of realized, but up to that, it's not very good.
Slow.
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah, but I've always heard that people say that this is like the worst slasher. What year was Don't Go in the Woods made?
I think it was made like a year. I don't know. It was early. It was the 70s, definitely. I don't have my. Let me try to open my.
So it was before Friday the 13th.
Yes, I believe it was maybe ripping off. Let's see here. Don't Go in the Woods.
The slasher element really wasn't set in stone until then, until Halloween, really. But I mean,
well, Don't Go in the Woods was actually 1981, so it was a couple years after Halloween, which was 1978.
Yeah. So, and which I think is the same year as Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and that's when that whole genre kind of just exploded. People were kind of playing around with it. But this leads me to the concept. I've never seen it. I definitely should. I had like a VHS of it for the longest time, and then somebody wanted it, so I just gave it, and then realized I never actually watched it. Because I think for some reason in my mind, would always mix it up with Wait Until Dawn, which was just also a very slow.
Yeah, the
slasher.
Jeff Lieberman one, where all I remember from it is at the end, the woman kills the killer by stuffing her hand down his throat.
Something like that. I mean,
that's
that I've seen, and it went in one out the other. It was kind of a Hills Have Eyes, but again, it was campers and a crazy person. A genre that nowadays is done to death with the hillbilly exploitations of the Wrong Turns and all that. But
endless wrong turn movies.
I believe there are no budget Don't Go in the Woods ... alone remakes done in the last like 10 years.
Maybe I wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, there's even one that's just called Don't Go in the Woods. That was this really low budget film that like cheered that it had Vincent D'Onofrio in it for a moment.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah, as an old
Ticket sold.
Yeah, but he's only like a cameo as some like weird guy they meet. But then I saw in like 2015 there is like a skeleton mask killer shot on video movie called Don't Go in the Woods ... alone as well. Just because probably it's one of those like dropped by the company's public domain things to use.
Are you a big fan of those? What is it called? Blood Camp?
No, I wish I was. Like I'm.
Yeah, the ones that have like 15 entries in it.
Yeah, it's I don't mind some of the Polonia ones that happened in it later on, but
Polonia's directed some Blood Camp movies.
It's done like 4 of them.
Wow.
But Dustin Ferguson of Nemesis 5 has also
Camp
done
Blood. Sorry, I got it wrong.
Camp Blood, yeah, the clown ones. The first one's fun because it's totally stupid. But there's another series, just 2 of them, Bloody Murder, and where there's a hockey mask killer, so it's completely ripping off Jason. But he has a chainsaw, so it's every stereotype together. And shockingly, those weren't that bad. Those Lionsgate 8-packs had them on it, and after like telling myself I'm not going to watch them because
if it's on an 8-pack, you have to watch it. Them the rules.
Yeah, and it wasn't that bad. They were pretty good actually. They were on comparison. They're actually films on comparison to the shot on video. We're just fucking around that Camp Blood was. When you put the word Sterling Entertainment in front of your film, you have to like go in there with an open mind.
What, you're not a Sterling Entertainment fan?
Sometimes I am. Sometimes I very much am because I love crap. But if you are not a lover of crap, you must be warned before going into that. This is not Friday the 13th part anything in Camp Blood. This isn't even Memorial Day Massacre.
I like Memorial Day Massacre with the big buck-toothed caveman.
Yeah, and he flips over the 4-wheeler with the fat kid, the comedy gold. But what connects my thought to this, which I don't know if you have something to say more about this.
Nah, that's it. Watch Don't Go in the Woods. It's a good wood slasher movie.
and then and totally weird, which is what makes it original these days. When you're going back through all those 80s films, a lot of them kind of blur together. But it reminded me that I'm just gonna play an old trailer of an old beach movie.
We can't control it.
And I forgot I did this, but this is a moment where I can play a full trailer and not worry about copyright, because there's no way this has copyright on it.
Where is this, horror at Party Beach?
Yes.
Oh, Severn's gonna come after you. They released it.
Well, they also released the Sunset Cove. So
yeah, that's true.
So I'll just put the word boobs in front of the screen.
Just a skull over stuff.
Yeah.
I've never seen horror. Wait, have I seen horror at Party Beach?
It was just like it has hot dogs in its mouth.
Because it's at the beach, man. That's where you bring the hot dogs.
Right. Nom, 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 nom. So anyway. Horrifying. Get your release. Enter the theater. I love gimmick shit like that. But horror and slashers. Nightmare Beach. I'm a big fan of this one. It's you've seen this, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think it's fun. I like how he just electrocutes everybody.
Yeah, but it's weird how when it's a beach movie, it's legitimately a beach movie, and then this happens,
yeah,
and like shit like that goes down. But the scenes that are like two guys going on spring break, they're gonna hang out at the beach, maybe just finding a way to meet chicks, and then this terrible murder is happening, and it doesn't even like key into them until like a little later on. And the murder is so silly, it feels like it was two ideas smashed together. But for schlock fans, it's a lot of fun, and it's actually has some pretty big impact on some of these kills. But the deep thought about that is a movie that I think really absolutely hits the stereotypes of beach movies is Spring Break. Again, two guys who go on spring break. I think they go to Miami again, and it's just seeing if one's more nerdy than the other, and his friend's like, we're gonna go on the wet t-shirt contest, we're gonna help you pick up some chicks, and it's pretty, again, dated, and it's like exploitative.
Wait, you said there's a deep thought here.
Well, the deep thought is that it's written and directed by Sean Cunningham.
Oh, well, he's an exploitation guy, the guy who did Friday the 13th,
right? And that's the question. But
House.
On comparison to shit that comes out at that time, Spring Break, like, compare it to like Ski School or Hot Dogs, those ski movies. But
Hamburger, the movie.
Yeah.
From the director of Hot Dog.
Which no one is it Hamburger where they
I've never seen it.
I always mix it up with that and fast food. There's one of them where they roofie their burgers, and it makes everyone horny and make out at the burger place. And then that might be fast food, and then Hamburger is the one where the opposing team puts laxatives in all the burgers, so all the people
I like that.
Yeah, they all die from it.
They die.
they shit themselves to death, and the ambulance takes them away, and it's like that's why they get shut down. But as opposed to the fact that everybody
so like halfway through the film, they give laxatives as a joke, and the people who eat it die.
Well, they're never seen again, and the place is shut down. So,
wait, do you have like what do babies have that if you don't see them on screen, you're like, I assume they're dead? They're back, they're alive.
Yeah, exactly. But Spring Break is pretty by the books. It is dated for sure, but it doesn't feel like at any point was he trying to do that. It doesn't feel like an exploitation comedy where they're going, look at this. Here's
this poster where literally the men are using the woman
as
a mountain. Not as exploitative as you think.
And well, I mean, on comparison to some of it's not Screwballs or something like that, which it seems like it would be.
Toronto's own Screwballs.
Well, there's Ontario and our woods are used for a lot of these American movies, but they're trying to homage this picture. But like, this is what they're trying to do. This is what young boys of America with hormones raging through their bodies, they'll become soldiers that will raise our flag. But all I can think of, and this may be before your time, because that's the way music works, is it makes me think of the terrible music video by Lit for where these guys are on Pamela Anderson's Blatt for the music.
I've never seen that.
it's such a bad song. It's that terrible era of like
Wait, sing it to me. I don't know what song it is.
at the beginning. The first line of it is just the singer says, "You make me come, you make me complete, you
Wait,
make me completely miserable."
Is it Lit that sings my own worst? No, we're like
Yeah, if it's not them, and that's Sum 41, isn't it?
No, oh yeah, that's some for what? Please.
Yeah, but there's like so many other. When looking for this clip, it put me on a terrible YouTube rabbit hole to like American Hi-Fi and other shit like that. That in MXPX, these like boy bands with guitars, because the alternative scene was over. So
I was right. It is Lit. The it's my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Please tell me why.
When you said the I'm or Swemny, that sounded right at the beginning, but then that riff is like used for like everything at
every band that came out
at that time. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the music? Like, there's a video of them playing at like a state's fair, and it's so funny because it keeps cutting to the audience, and everyone you've seen at the state's fair.
And they don't give a shit. It's just like it was free and part of the show. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's as sad as shit.
I mean, I only love that song because it's like the main theme of Ready to Rumble, the WCW movie.
Right. I wonder how many people think Spring Break is just this movie though.
Oh.
Because that's where we had to have Harmony Korine being exploitive as everything, which like ruins almost everything of this film. That there's like nothing but awkward exploitation in this film.
So wait, do you have Ready to Rumble on this? Because I'm ready to Rumble talk now.
We'll save that for a wrestling movie podcast.
Oh, okay. Please tell me. What's great about that song is they keep edging you in the movie. Like it never gets to the chorus. You're like, come on! It plays like 5 times.
They must have Papa Roach in that theme in that movie.
Oh,
too.
they have to, right?
It does have Biff naked covering Twisted Sister with We're Not Gonna Take It in there.
Papa Roach, Ready to Rumble. You know what? I don't think so.
Oh, too bad.
What is Papa Roach up to these days? You would think that they would have like a why can't I think of the name of the band that sings All Star? How dare I?
Smash Mouth?
Yeah. Like following. Like Papa Roach feels like they like went like right wing or something like that.
Yeah, probably. I haven't looked into them enough because every time I mention it, you just pop out of a doorway and just go, cut my life into pieces.
I'm more of a fan of their deep cuts, not their radio singles.
Right. Broken Home.
I don't know. Is that a Papa Roach song?
Yeah. Oh, it is. In present day, have you ever seen the In-Betweeners movie?
Oh yeah, very funny.
But being made in this day, only the English could get away with that level of humor. When like one of the main guys, his whole shtick is that he just calls everyone gay. Like you couldn't do that movie in North America. But wonderfully that it would at least be the only thing where we get to see the very funny Greg Davis drive around on a 4-wheeler with barely any clothes on as their drunk teacher that they keep seeing there. I have become way too much of a Greg Davis fan over the last little while. Do
you watch all of his travel shows and all the stuff that he does? Because he's very prolific on like BBC stuff. Yeah.
Well, his show Taskmaster is like exploded. It's the make or break comedians that go on it.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh, and the Taskmasters has a YouTube page that is made by them so Canadians can watch it. So you can watch almost all the seasons there nowadays. They get 5 comedians each season and they make them do tasks to embarrass themselves. And then Greg judges them. And Greg pretends that he's some sort of like rich baron that like has some sort of power over them somehow. But even that he's being himself and like he admits that these people are his friends, but him and his co-host have this weird Laurel and Hardy persona that they have doing it. I can't really explain it because he is what he is. Where else was I going to go with this? Oh, well, okay. So, I will.
The lit music video is going to start.
Yeah.
Please tell me why.
That was a thing of the 90s that like all these bands wanted to be like, it was the summer fun band that we were.
Like the song of the summer. That's what people want, right?
Yeah.
How does it go? It's like my girlfriend. Oh no, what is it? American Hi-Fi, the one hit.
Right, and that was the next thing that fucking came up in the list when I was looking for that lip video. That it does the heavy metal parking lot spoof at the beginning, and then American Hi-Fi has that line that says, "He's too stoned, Nintendo."
Oh,
like, what?
That's right.
That's not even a sentence, man. You're just listing things.
Her boyfriend, he don't know anything about
About
her.
her.
Man, that's what I played all the time.
Yeah. Oh, and never got better. At the beginning, they say that because they make fun of the heavy metal parking lot shtick, and it's a guy going, "Punk sucks, metal rules, Ozzy
That's
Priest."
right. That's how it starts, right? Because
Yeah.
it's like a heavy metal parking lot parody.
He's
video.
doing like word for word, even like bumps his teeth with the mic like that guy does, the zebra guy from that. And then he just throws American Hi-Fi in that list. And I'm like, man, if
Oh my God, the lead singer of American Hi-Fi. Woo boy.
it's like what he looks like now, or like
Oh no, just I don't know what he looks like now. What he looked like then. He looks
Yeah.
like CW, like feathered hair, like mullet down to his shoulders.
oh, the epitome of the fact that it's just a boy band with guitars. Yeah, it's,
Yeah, like Chad Kroger-ish.
well, it's at least Chad Kruger at least looks like he's like smacked around a bit. Like he's
That's how Adam likes his singers. Smacked around a little bit.
I'm not a Nickelback fan, no, but he definitely wouldn't be in the singer of American Hi-Fi and the singer of O-Town look like the same dude.
Oh, O-Town.
Which will only stay in my memory because of Clone High.
Yeah, Adam went to go at Riot Fest. He saw American Hi-Fi. Like, I feel so dizzy. It feels like I'm on drugs. Like, they come out and they play like that one song, right? Did they have any other hits?
Yeah, what the fuck else did they do? I have no idea. Yeah, they must have, but I mean, then there was like bands like, oh fuck, I don't even want to get into it. There's a terrible time of my youth. You were at least like
2 years old.
2 years old. Yeah. So it didn't really affect you. I feel like I'm almost to blame for that generation of music.
You are to blame for that generation of music. I've seen photos of you looking Chad Kroger-ish on stage.
Looking Chad Kroger-ish. Gag me with a Kroger.
Wow, they've been making music. Like 6 years ago, they released a new song.
Who, American Hi-Fi?
Yeah. Oh, it's
Wow.
so sad. They only have 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's not enough.
They need more. They deserve more. Fuck. They can go to hell.
Oh no, I'm going down the rabbit hole now. All American Rejects. Are they still around?
Probably. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, they just released a new single 9 months ago. All right. Anyway,
I am
Nintendo.
connecting to the concept of bad music. We're going to this movie that was often released as State Park, filmed also in Algonquin Park, but
Wait,
mostly
isn't
American,
this directed by Lord Kaufman's brother?
by Raphael Zelinsky.
Nope, it is not. Raphael Zelinsky is the director of Screwballs.
Oh, so it connects to that. This is not anywhere near. This feels a lot more wholesome than Screwballs, but that's only in comparison. But this weird cover of calling it State Park and having the like warden being all rained on, but because mostly the movie is really about the people trying to save the park from a company that wants to use it as a landfill. But the more interesting characters are these two metalhead guys who show up in it, who are like just the worst. Like, obviously you never actually listened to metal or anything about that at the time, and they move ahead to it, and that this concept was like,
I keep seeing this photo of him like with his face covered in jizz.
I think he's been slimed by the.
Yeah, I know.
But these guys were the more interesting secondary story, where they were like, we're metal guys, but we're actually just geeks, and we're really romantic at heart, so we just want to like meet a nice girl. Then they like make a metal band without the makeup to show that we're not freaks. We'll stop being freaks for you nice people. And then Ted Nugent shows up for no reason, because it was at a time period where you can be like, well, Ted Nugent plays some badass guitar, so he can't be a terrible guy.
Yikes.
And then we jump ahead and things really change. But it was re-released for another VHS release under a much better title other than State Park, so that it more emphasized on those two weirdos, and called itself Heavy Metal Summer for no real reason. And solely just because it has a way better font and title on it that do I appreciate that more. There's no
Speaking of
difference.
stuff like this that's shot in Canada, have you ever seen Pinball Summer?
No, I haven't. I know of that, and I think
Directed by the guy who did My Bloody Valentine.
Is it a joysticks deep down in any way?
Yeah, it's kind of like joysticks. It does have a lot to do with pinball, but it's like another like boner comedy.
Right. Okay. So it is a lot like joysticks, which also has that girl from Surf 2.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Ugh, don't make me watch joysticks. That movie's terrible.
And everyone's favorite Mitchell in that.
Oh, I love Joe Don Baker. Don't you dare insult Joe Don Baker.
The final justice of joysticks.
He's still alive, Joe Don.
And we are all shocked about that.
I know. He doesn't do interviews. MST3K scared him away.
Why, you tried to call him?
Maybe somebody I know did.
Oh, and he wouldn't take the call? Too bad.
He's never done like a long form interview, like about his career, which is very surprising because he's had a crazy career.
Yeah. It probably is the Mr. Science Theater stuff that's really caused like a weird influx of weirdos wanting to constantly
Well, he
talk
sued
him.
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he did. They're very mean to him in that episode.
And Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, are they being mean to him or are they being mean to Mitchell?
Well, they're just calling him fat and that the movie's dumb and because he produced the film as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So where we're going with that? Joysticks, right. Joysticks
Right.
has a rockin' theme song, though.
And I feel because it's indoors most of the time that it didn't fit into the summer fun thing, but it's like
True.
that kind of a movie. It fits into. I like joysticks. I get a kick out. I really love Vinegar. That actor's great. He's in so many things I love.
Speaking of punks,
Yeah, and he plays a ridiculous, and he seems like again the Surf 2 thing, and where like people at that point weren't sure what the metal punk was. Was it just weird makeup or were they a zombie?
Yes.
These movies that are made by old people to be this is what the kids today are like.
wait, there's no joke in Joysticks where like a guy sticks his dick as like the joystick, does he? And like a woman grabs it. Or am I just hallucinating that in my mind?
I mean, maybe I blocked that out, but I
Because
don't.
in the
feel like
cover, the guy is like in the machine, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see his like eyes looking. So maybe I just.
because that's where you meet him at the beginning of the film. He's inside them fixing them. And there's right away the guy has a hot dog thing that falls in between the girl's boobs, and he's got to go pick
Did
it
you
up.
used to go to arcades a lot when you were a kid, especially during the summer because we're summer oriented here?
When I was a little kid, yeah, it's weird. It's that kind of like I'm at that age, the last generation that was allowed to play outside kind of shit. And I think about it, I was like, man, I used to play at an arcade in the 80s. So I had to be like 7 and going to this arcade.
But in Canada, there was or maybe just in Toronto, there was a bylaw. Remember that you couldn't have a number of arcade machines in one place?
Oh, yeah.
Because remember that was an issue with some of the arcades that opened up in Toronto, was that they're like, it's illegal to do this for some reason.
I don't know. I remember in my hometown in Kingston that there was a really big one that we went to all the time, but I was a bit older at that point. But the reason I know I was like single digits and going by myself was because I remember when I lived in England as a kid going there, and I moved back here at like 11. So I would go to this place that was on the other side of town. There was a pool beside it, and my friends would go there, and then we would go and hang out at this arcade with like the most sketch teenagers on the planet. And it's like we're these little kids, and we just got our pile of change to go play Street Fighter 1.
So the one that you actually, it's pressure sensitive when you hit the button.
I just remember
It was.
getting
I know that the original Street Fighter cabinet one, they tried to do it so like if you hit hard, it would hit harder.
Oh, yeah.
And it was always breaking. So they stopped doing that.
Yeah. Instead of faster or slower or holding and letting go.
I mean, that's just past your time, but the arcade was defined for me by the X-Men arcade machine. That's like big.
I played the shit out of that game.
And you know why? I only learned this recently. One screen always looked like shit. And the reason was it was actually reflected. It was a mirror and the other screen was underneath. Not sure why. I'm sure you can find if you look into it. But that's why the screen always looked like weird and off.
On the one corner of the screen. Yeah, because it's trying to have the IMAX version of an arcade machine. You saw I got picked up one of those fucking Ninja Turtles arcade cabinets, right?
No, you did?
Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
How big?
It's not full size, but it's my height. Like it's person height, and it's got all 4 controllers on it.
Money bags, Adam again. That monocle in your eye's falling out. Wait, how much did that cost?
I don't really want to say, but
Okay.
but I did get it as
just like some of the billionaires like Amazon. Some people came out of this pandemic with a profit.
It was right at the beginning of the pandemic. It was before the pandemic had really locked itself in, and they did like a pre-order sale that you could get them like 50% off if you pre-ordered it at the Brick and came to get it.
How do you have room for that machine?
I don't. It's at Eyesore because I figured by this point Eyesore would have reopened. We would have had like an excuse to like have people in there. So it's been sitting there all year.
But you weren't going to charge people to play, right?
No, you can't. It doesn't have a working change part on it. It was just like.
I mean, I've been looking at. I'm not going to get it, but the Simpsons machine.
Mm.
They just announced it as well. Full-size cabinet, and it comes with not only the original Simpsons game, but also Simpsons Bowling. So it has like a trackpad in it. Yeah.
Mine has the Ninja Turtles original arcade and Turtles in Time. You can.
I think you could probably hack it though and make it into a Neo Geo machine. You can have any game that you download on it.
It's super light because it has a weight put on the bottom because there's nothing inside it. Like the actual computer part is a small machine on the back of the screen.
Of course, yeah.
So it's because like why would they need to?
So wait, is it a CRT screen?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's a super flat thing that because they had to build it when it came in a big case and I had to make it. But they also had the only thing that was really solid is the 4-player controller, which they also released the X-Men. So I literally was like, I don't know which one to choose at the time. I chose the Ninja Turtles because it looks cool. It has the classic image on the side.
Oh wait, did the X-Men have both like screens?
No, it just had one big. It was just one big screen, and then had 4 controllers on it.
Ninja Turtles looks cooler.
Yeah, but the only thing that made the X-Men fighter cooler was you could also choose to be Capcom versus X-Men. You could.
So wait, did you buy it from EB Games?
No, I bought it from the Brick.
Oh yeah, I see here it's from the Brick or EB Games. Yeah. It's about the price that I would think it would be, which is like the price of a system. So
right, but by getting it in the like pre-order weekend, I saved a lot.
So you got it for half price. Oh, okay, that's very. Maybe 5%. Did you have to talk Sarita into doing it? Be like,
you know, I didn't
like, oh, you know, ladies are controlling.
It was weird. No, I called her because I was somewhere else at the time.
So it was like an impulse decision then.
Yeah. I saw the ad. It was like, if you do it today, you can get it at this discount. And then I.
This is the awesome machine. That like the turtles are kind of like off model. There's a weird April O'Neil on the side as well.
Some sort of weird like porny model imagery. Like it looks,
but not like the porn April O'Neil. Someone completely different.
Right? Yeah. But it looks like a weird cosplay, like to be, especially because it was the '80s April who wore that yellow bodysuit with a lot of cleavage. It was very, very weird.
So it's not full size, but you say it's big though.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's not like I have to sit down.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It's big. I'm surprised how big it is.
If you take off the weight that's on the bottom of it, you'd have to sit down to play it. But because it has this big square weight, so that you don't
lifts it up.
Lifts it up. Yeah, that it's above my head, but barely, and it's super light. Like if 4 people were playing, you may accidentally knock the thing over. But when you first see it, your first reaction is, "Oh my god, it's that fucking arcade machine!"
Yeah, everyone who's gonna walk into Eyesore is gonna be like, "Oh, that's so cool!
Yeah,
let me play it." So it's
a
good.
And my concept was that we could do something with it, but we'll see what happens. I've been sitting here with the last.
Do something with it. What are you gonna do with it?
Well, I mean, if I can't get people in there to play it, and there's not like some place to use it there, I'll bring it home, and then I'll be playing it more often. But
how often are you gonna play Ninja Turtles? You'll play it like on Unlimited continues. You'll probably beat the game in like half an hour.
Oh, I beat them both there already. I've just played it in the back room and just saying I'm done. But it's fun with people. If you get a bunch of people there,
like 4 people playing.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So, but I never have people come over to my place either. So what do I care? The last dregs of my blue Pepsi. This stuff's gross.
Wait, blue Pepsi?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Pepsi
what are you doing drinking Pepsi? You're a Coke man.
I know. I only got it because it's the blue Pepsi that only comes out in the summer, and it's the first like summer Canada's had it in years. So I just wanted it for a funny video on Instagram. But then I had to actually drink it, and I'm like, oh.
So you love, like me, summer, but you don't like going out anywhere or doing anything. You just like the idea of summer.
Yeah, I love summer promotions and shit like that. And I love the concept of beach movies. I love 1960s era when Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello were doing that shit.
I've never watched any beach movies except for the one we're about to talk about right now.
I love the original stuff because also Don Rickles was the like sort of bad guy in those movies, and Don Rickles again. dated but super funny. But yes, a movie which I have screened more than once to
Where
weird
did you
audiences.
screen it? Did you screen it out at the beach? Where did I see it?
You saw it at Dundas Video when Brandon and I played it.
Okay, that's
for
fair.
Tapeworm Tuesdays, and then I played it for my Terrible Toonie Tuesdays as well. It is Back to the Beach, the '80s reunion of them, where they're really mean to themselves and like make fun of how dated they are, because Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon have that sense of humor, and has millions of ridiculous dated guests, and because that's the shit I love. It's like watching Airplane 2 all over again with having guys like
Surf 2.
Surf 2, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Surf 2, yeah, they actually make them into characters, but I feel like how these are just like walk-on, walk-off characters. The guy from Get Smart appears for a moment. The cast of Gilligan's Island's there for a little bit, and then Pee Wee Herman shows up and has a musical number where he sings "Bird Is the Word," which I will not play because I know for sure that will get us flagged, and probably
Do you get flagged a lot on videos on here?
Yeah, enough, but I mean, they usually don't get taken down. The only time one got taken down was when you and I did one on wrestling, and I used a wrestling clip because WWE's like, fuck that noise. Which is funny because I took it from another guy who'd already had it online, and he didn't get taken down. So
he's in with WWE.
Yeah, he's in Vince's pocket. Yeah,
we're not going to call it WWE. We're going to call it WWF. The way it should be called.
Because that's the only period that I would bother taking clips of. But as there was definitely had to be like surf guy wrestlers too, but. Not,
I mean, they were at the beach, wasn't there? Isn't that what SummerSlam is all about? Is that it's like wrestling at the beach?
Well, there's SummerSlam, but WCW had Bash at the Beach.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Which did it outdoors, and they had like the one famous one where they built a pool around the ring, so eventually wrestlers would get mad and throw the other wrestler in a pool, and that's fucking stupid.
No, it's great. Bring it back.
Have you seen that? There's a photo that's been jumping around the internet just the last 2 days where a guy put his VHS stack of Freddy Krueger movies together.
I did, and it's like Stone Cold in the middle, and he has long arms.
It's Goldberg from the 1997 Bash at the Beach. And all I can think of that is like, man, I want that tape.
Goldberg, the thinking man, Stone Cold. Did Goldberg ever go to WWE?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like he's won the title multiple times, but he always appears as this gag of like, look, it's Goldberg from WCW. He beats the champ and then leaves, and then he comes back 2 years later. His worst moment was like I guess it must have been the end of 2019. He brought
a film called Ready to Rumble.
Wow, that's a great moment. He's not in that enough. That stars too much DDP.
It's a star Goldberg, and no one mentions that it's Goldberg.
Right. I mean, all the other movies that he did later on, but just to get that thought out of my head was now I've completely lost thought of that because all I'm thinking of is
you were thinking about Goldberg. You said his worst moment was
in wrestling. Yeah,
yes.
No, in 2019 he even wrestled in WWE when they went to Saudi Arabia. He fought the Undertaker as the main event for the Saudi Arabia match. So these two old men, and at some point they clonk heads, and Goldberg says for about a minute he has no idea what's going on. He's out cold, and the Undertaker's just dragging him around. They're just dancing. Like Goldberg has admitted that's like the most embarrassing thing of his life, and probably has. No, it didn't, because then he came back at the first pandemic WrestleMania. He was the surprise fill-in because Roman Reigns had chemo the year before, so they didn't want to bring him out during the pandemic. So they replaced him with Goldberg. He just showed up. He's like, yeah, the man doesn't give a shit about anything.
Roman Reigns still around. No one likes Roman Reigns.
He's like the big bad these days. He's like the top name.
But do people like him?
He's gotten better as a bad guy. He's really like committed to what he's doing. So
Hollywood Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it's totally like that. I don't give a shit about wrestling anymore. It's like every time I try to watch it for a second, I go, yeah, whatever, and I just watch like.
Last time I watched wrestling was WrestleMania. It was the pandemic had just started, and we got so bored watching it. I put on like 3 hours of farts. So because it's just silent, so it just goes.
And that's the one where Roman Reigns isn't there and Goldberg shows up. But that was 2 days. They broke it down into 2 days, and I didn't watch it. I only know of it from the highlights. That's why I forgot it happened.
Yeah.
I watched the fight at Saudi Arabia, and it is the saddest thing you're ever gonna fucking see. There's a time when old motherfuckers got to sit down. Goldberg looked great. Goldberg looks as good as he ever did. The Undertaker doesn't. Oh yeah,
like,
Goldberg looks.
When I think of Goldberg, I just think of like a doughy kind of man, like just round, bald.
I mean, just a. You can tell he's just a big dude. The only reason I even think that was, don't ask me why I watched this. I've watched a lot of it. Jay Leno has a car show where he meets celebrities
Why
to
do
come
you
with their
watch
cars.
it? You love Jay Leno?
I saw it on YouTube because it was Weird Al and Jay Leno. Jay Leno shows up with Weird Al's mom's car from the 70s.
Goldberg looks like he's morphing into a muscular Hulk Hogan because of like his beard that he has.
Yeah, he's like, but he was always better shape than Hogan was.
Now Hogan was always trash.
We'll wait till next year for the summer blockbuster. That'll be the Hogan biopic starring the dude who's Thor.
Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is supposed to be doing that, and that's why he's even more jacked than jacked in the new Thor movie.
There is not a Hulk Hogan biopic coming out. I'm looking right now. You're right. Untitled Hulk Hogan biopic. It says announced though.
Yeah, because when the pandemic happened, he said he's not started anything.
I trust the director of this, Mr. Joker himself, Todd Phillips. Old school.
He's gonna say, "We live in a society, brother." Everyone thinks that I'm just a joke, brother.
Yeah. Oh, should have had that sushi.
Don't even get me fucking started on what's the most over-exaggerated, fucking overhyped movie in the world.
Hulk Hogan's porn video? Is that what you're getting at?
That and the Joker. Yeah, okay.
I've never seen the Joker. I'm the only good man left.
So that's the summer. We're going to leave you with the music I was playing at the beginning because there are lots of shitty zero-budget films, which I love because I love shitty movies, like Pool Party Massacre, Drew McIntyre's Mavericks, not Drew McIntyre, that's another wrestler, Drew Mavericks, amazing movie that's having a sequel coming out next summer.
Wait, I have a question to get even more off topic. Summer movies, we're not really getting that many this year, but are you excited for the Suicide Squad?
I think I am. Yeah.
I mean, I am. I really like James Gunn. Yeah. I feel like he gets what the Suicide Squad is. It's clear from the trailer that there's like 30 guys and 2/3 of them die.
Yeah,
including John Cena in the movie.
We feel like we're pretty sure that he gets to die in the movie.
Oh yeah, he's definitely dead. If you watch that trailer, they're shot from the end of the movie, and you see like the final team that's left.
Yeah, also because they've said that the Peacemaker mini
TV series,
is a prequel.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're giving him this bone.
Yeah, because they know it's going to hype him. Because of that, they put Peacekeeper in the comic books again, and he was never a Suicide Squad member before. But they just
wasn't. I gotta take out my John Ostrander.
He might have for like a second, but I mean, in general, he wasn't, because he's part of that weird group of the Carlton Comics guys that became Watchmen. Like Peacekeeper is the comedian; they're the same character,
right? So he was a Charleston comic guy.
Yeah. And it was always part of this weird, like, where do we use these guys?
Well,
like,
even Idris Elba, he plays Bloodshot instead of what is it?
Deadshot.
Instead of Deadshot, because I think like Will Smith was like, you got to play a different character. So James Gunn is like, okay, I got to find another black character that can play this.
Well, yeah, and that was super weird because immediately everyone thought that it was going to be Bronze Tiger. Because with a character that Michael J. White
plays, yeah,
and because Bronze Tiger is famously a field leader of the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, why didn't you make it Bronze Tiger? That would have made so much sense.
The story is, and this is only rumor from like message boards of DC guys and Instagram pages, is that DC does not want him to use it. They don't want to put Bronze Tiger back.
Maybe they want to do like a kung fu thing with Bronze Tiger.
That's the thing, because they allude to him in that that recent retro martial arts Batman.
I really like that Batman movie.
Yeah, the Dragon Lee one or whatever.
Yeah, that ends with them like in hell fighting the monsters.
Which I mean, a lot of their animated movies have ended that way. But it's one of the only like the Batman ones I like. I like a lot of their animated stuff, but I like that it was original and stylish. But anyway, I think maybe in their mind they're like thinking, what if Shin-Chi, well, I'm not even saying it right. Shin-Chi, what's the the Marvel one.
Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi, yeah.
Right. They can turn around and make kind of like Bronze Tiger their more probably low budget version of Black Panther as well and expose them together.
Or at least that DC in the comic books wants to do that.
DC in the I was like, we have almost no black characters as well. Like we got Jon Stewart, that's Green Lantern, and then
the problem is they have Milestone, they have Icon, they have Static, they have.
I know they don't want to touch those, but they just brought them back, didn't they? They're like Milestone's back, baby.
And to be safe with it, they're not alluding if Milestone does exist with the rest of the comics so that they could bail out at any time. They play the safeguard so badly. Mr. Terrific, he's incredible. I love that character.
Oh, Mr. Terrific is great. I love Mr. Terrific.
Vixen's an amazing character.
What if they make a Mr. Terrific movie? That'd be fun.
I think it's the weird thing because of the whole CW deal with it that they were like. That's why
the thing is, people don't care. Like the new Flash movie is going to have a new Supergirl that's never appeared anywhere else.
Yeah, and that's I think they're going to discover that. I think they're going to discover they can do it. The only one of the CW shows that I still watch is Legends, and Legends cannot use a DC character anymore.
Which one?
They're not like any of them. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to take on.
Really?
Season they bring on characters, but they've been told you can't do it because we don't want you to use something that HBO might want to use. So one of the
Constantine still on Legends?
He is. Yeah. He's the only one because Constantine. They haven't had to remove them, but like they all have to use like their normal names. So Constantine's the only guy that they allowed to call that, and he's probably out as of next season too. But Heatwave's leaving from this season. The Canary's not called a Canary anymore. They don't make any reference that she was ever a Canary. She's just Sarah the Assassin. And all their other characters that are on it are original created characters.
Yeah, because I was looking at the team recently and I was like, who are these people? Don't recognize any of them.
And everyone they meet characters that are kind of like ripoffs of DC characters, but they can't use the names. They've been told they can't do it. So they do the whole show really funny. They like every episode they break the fourth wall. They and because they just don't give a fuck, as opposed to the problem that Flash has to do, where Flash can't really do that either because they really want to save it because HBO will pay money for it. So that's why these shows are. That's why Supergirl's not going to go on after this. That's why Black Lightning's not going on because it's like, well, what can we write? We're like,
you can't use any DC characters.
Yeah.
Well, on that happy note, enjoy the Suicide Squad this summer, I guess. It has been brought to you by the Suicide Squad.
And probably because I'll cut out a chunk of that. Saying Back to the Beach to end that off because, as I said, we'll get flagged for playing a clip of Pee Wee doing Surfing Bird. We'll also get flagged for when Fishbone, a band I love, comes out of nowhere and sings Jamaican ska with a net full of cello and is the weirdest, just bizarre joke of a scene in the whole movie. I can't even explain the kind of Pee Wee Herman-esque drug hallucination that Back to the Beach feels like. I really wonder what Annette Funicello and Frankie Avalon thought when the movie was finished. When it's over and they watch.
Give me my check!
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's all that mattered to them. But yeah. But deep down, I want to think they're great people because I love all their old stuff. I even love a movie that doesn't have them, that is a summer beach house movie, which I just recently saw on Tubi, a terrible Fred Olen Ray remake of Ghost in the Invisible Bikini. That he made it. It's on Tubi. It's called The Haunting of Beatrice Muffins, but when he sold it on DVD a couple of years ago, it was called The Ghost in the Teeny Bikini. And like the gags are obviously like when I started watching, I'm like, wait a minute, this is the plot to the Tommy Kirk and Nancy Sinatra movie, The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini, with which connects to the Frankie and Annette movies because they meet their villains. Some of the villains from those movies appear as those characters in it, and it has a guy in a gorilla suit.
We didn't even mention Bikini Drive-In, another classic Fred Olen Ray joint.
I mean, you could go into the era of just like boob exploitation movies, but I mean, that could be any temperature. It doesn't need to be sweaty summer to do that. Sunset Cove thing just censored right away. Boobs, the very first thing in the credits. To go full circle to what we started playing, that Sunset Cove thing, it's super weird because again, it was during that 70s exploitation day. So the very serious trailer voice, it sounds like everyone's gonna die at the end of that movie.
It
sounds
does.
like
It
sounds like it's gonna
does.
play some weird like Pink Angels last 2 seconds to like fuck you up, and like it's just summer fun all the way through, and then at the end the cops kill them, like which is not what happens, but
Oh, okay. Phew.
it does get weird at some points, but not like that. But to go fully full circle, we talked about shitty no budget films on there that do this, like Drew Maverick's Pool Massacre. Chris Seaver, my bizarre hero, that is his terrible movie Stoinky Beach, which you can get from SOVhorror.com. But you can't get the sequels. The sequels have only been released directly from Chris. He will only sell them to you directly. So I've never seen them. I've never gotten around.
Isn't he in a fight with SRC Cinema?
It was SOV or
Yeah.
SRS? No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
SOV, he specifically set up that deal with them. So that's
Because I
that's
thought
the
due to the treatment of Sex Squatch 2.
that's the SRS stuff. Yes,
Yeah.
him and SRS. Not due to the treatment. He just got like he was just being pushed to make it, and he didn't want to make it because he was like under this thing like he got paid and he got paid to make it, as opposed Ron Bonk pays you to make your film, as opposed to SOV, which does what Gold Ninja Video does, where you get a percentage after sales get made. So like he doesn't give a shit about that. He's like, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever. But yeah, he has like a Blu-ray out which has the Stoinky Beach trilogy, but he sells it for like $50. So
$50.
I'm sure I'm over exaggerating, but I'm sure maybe after like transition, I wanted to get that new Media Blast collection. That's like all the 12 Tempeh films he made. It's
I don't know. What is it called? Media Blasters?
Not Media Blast. What's the company that's making?
You're talking about, Tempeh Entertainment.
Make Flicks.
Make Flicks. Yeah, that's Tempeh Entertainment.
Right. And it's all the Fred Olin Ray stuff too. And Sterling Entertainment's using them now as well to do all their Blu-rays. And they just released a box set of everything Seaver that Tempeh ever released. So all the like first couple of years. So it's like 13 films.
Wow.
And a lot of my friends in the States are getting it. We talked to, and they're like, well, obviously you're going to get it, right? And then when I looked at it after shipping and changing it into American.
And I think when I order from MakeFlix, I get extra charges through UPS, like import fees, and they're the only place that I get that from.
I've seen a couple places that have done that have made me not order it because after everything was said and done, it would have cost me like $80 Canadian to get it. So I'm just like, whatever. I've got half of those originally, and I don't really care.
Well, that's a lot. There's like 30 movies on here,
and it looks cool. They've all got commentaries. It's all got a bunch of extras. It's fun, but I don't need Malva.
Oh God, I spent $30 on that when I was 15 and felt ripped off back then.
Yeah, and that's again one of those bad trauma connection things. If you're an independent film and you put Lloyd in your film, something is gonna go wrong.
That's a Kaufman curse, I like to call it.
Yeah, I think the only one that didn't get that was Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was gonna say that I do pick up almost all the other Tempeh stuff that they do. I have all their Fred Olin Ray movies they put out. I have that like 6-pack they put out of the movies they made. That one's awesome.
I have Robot Ninja and Ozone.
Yeah, those are great Blu-rays. I like that J.R. Bookwalter's like, there's money to be made here, but he also puts a lot of effort into it as well.
Yeah, no, they're super slick, and of course he did that as soon as he announced that Tempeh was over, and then he just did that. So it hyped itself. And he always puts a lot of them anyway. He gets our other B-movie podcasting friends of Doug and Mo on as.
I know, I'm right here. You kicked Doug and Mo to the curb. That's cool. This commentary track.
What do they have yet to release? There's got to be something in there that we can do.
I think they've pretty much done everything that they own the rights to.
Is Bloodletting on that yet? That's another one of.
No, Bloodletting is not. I like Bloodletting.
They shoot a baby.
I already have it on DVD.
Yeah, I do have it on DVD.
I'm trying to think of what else J.R. Bookwalter. Oh, I think they're owned by Full Moon though. The like Witch House 2 that he directed, and Witch House 3.
I think those are on the MakeFlix site too.
Oh, okay. So maybe there'll be a Blu-ray.
One of them is. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there. They're the only place too that has Haunting Fear that I want to see.
I have it on Blu-ray.
Oh, nice. Because I'll have to borrow it at some point. Because
that's a good one. I really like Haunting Fear.
It's the straight played film that Teenage Exorcist was, because it's all the same cast. Around the same time, but it's like as if they did it without Eddie Deason. That'd be really weird if Haunting Fear all of a sudden has an Eddie Deason.
Eddie Deason is it's me, Eddie Deason.
Well, have you seen Teenage Exorcist?
No, I've seen Beverly Hills Vamp,
Right,
the other
but-
Eddie Deason film.
Teenage Exorcist is again, Brink Stevens is possessed.
Uh-huh.
The same guy, the same male leads are all in it, but then they can't figure out how to unpossess her, so they call a exorcist line, but accidentally call a pizza line. And Eddie Deason shows up, and they say, "Oh, you must be the teenage exorcist." He's like, pepperonis. That's what gets rid of demons. And so it's a wah comedy sequel.
Give me that on Blu-ray.
It even has like a cameo of like Michael Berryman and all that shit.
I mean, now Eddie Deason is, bad man, but I still want my Eddie Deason trilogy on Blu-ray. The Pretzel and Ray Eddie Deason trilogy.
I really want to make a shirt that's just a black and white picture of his face, and then in like red Slayer writing just says Deason.
It's funny.
There's a shot in
He's a
Laser
sick
Blast. He's a sick man. Well, he was a really sick man a couple of years ago. He had throat cancer.
Yeah, he had throat cancer. I remember.
That's he's just given up on life. That's why he's so creepy now.
As opposed to before when he was not creepy.
Where I'll go to Storky Beach, Storky Beach, Storky Beach. Where I'll go to Storky Beach, where your friends hang out to have some fun. You know you gotta be number one. Storky Beach, Storky Beach. Everyone's tripping at Storky Beach, Storky Beach, Storky Beach. Everyone's tripping at Storky Beach. Hurry up and get this party started. Ha! Hey man, which one of you guys bought it?